say? American Eagle.
Hello, good morning. God bless you. Have a good day, all right?
Precipitated. Sexy as, oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, I don't get it. He's so no, whoa, man, stop. It happens so much. It's like people like literally harass me in the streets, and I'm like, but I hate that because like I want to be able to like stream on myself and be okay, not like leave and then 5 minutes later someone touches me weirdly, like all the time.
Welcome back to the Sweetest Solvers. My name is Lisa and this is my sweet mate Sinclair. We are running a series in which we discuss murder mysteries and conspiracies and try to get to the bottom of what really happened.
In light of April being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we'll be discussing sexual violence and tips for prevention. This episode will include mentions of rape and sexual assault, so viewers' discretion is advised.
In January of 2018, Lawrence Gerard Nassar, the U.S. gymnastics team doctor, was sentenced to 175 years in a Michigan state prison after pleading guilty to 7 counts of sexual assault to minors. In the next month, he was sentenced to an additional 40 to 125 years after pleading guilty to an additional 3 counts of sexual assault. Altogether, he assaulted at least 265 young women and girls dating back to 1992.
19-year-old Nigerian-American activist Oluwatoyin Solo went missing on June 6, 2020, shortly after tweeting about being sexually assaulted by a man who offered a ride to the church. Her body was found near a road in Tallahassee, Florida, where she lived, and Aaron Glee Jr. confessed shortly after and was charged with her kidnapping and murder.
After leaving a friend's house, 33-year-old Sarah Everard went missing on the evening of March 3, 2021, in London, England. Her remains were found a week later in the woods near Ashford, Kent. Wayne Couzens, a Metropolitan Police officer, was charged for her kidnapping and murder on March 12, 2021.
Studies have found that 90% of women aged 18 to 24 have experienced sexual harassment in public spaces, and more than 70% of women of all ages have endured such behavior.
A journalist interviewed several rapists and date rapists in prison to see what they look for in a potential victim, and the results were shocking. Most of the things that these rapists and date rapists look for pertain to like clothes, appearance, what your hair is like, what kind of clothes are you wearing, how easy can it be cut, how easy can it be grabbed, things like that. Or even if how a girl presents herself. Does she seem confident or does she seem timid? Is she busy and not paying attention, or is she aware of her surroundings? Things like that, you know?
Yeah, if you have like a ponytail or long hair or something.
That's
like
easy
long,
to grab.
Yeah.
See, my hair used to be much longer, but it's kind of short, so you have to like get close to me in order to grab my hair.
Yeah.
But back when my hair was longer, all it took was like me going like this, or just a gust of wind, and then all my hair was out for you to grab. Snatched. Yeah, they mostly just want somebody that's not going to put up a fight and can easily be grabbed and relocated.
Yeah.
A big thing for them is like not having witnesses.
Yeah, like a secluded area, like parking garages, stairwells, stuff like
parking lots in
Yeah.
general. Like anywhere where there's not going to be a lot of people. And I feel like that's something a lot of girls are already aware of. I know when I got my license, that was like one of the first things my dad taught me, was like when I'm going back to my car alone, have my keys out, know where my car is, and check the surrounding area. The interview said something about people in the passenger seats of other cars. I always looked for people outside of cars. I never looked for people in cars, so I thought that was interesting. I don't know about you.
I actually look for people under the car because I've heard this thing that people wait under the car, and then when they see ankles, like about to get in the car, they slash your ankles.
No,
to
I've never heard of that. That's so scary.
Yeah, so you can't go anywhere. Because if your Achilles heel is broken, it's done.
Yeah,
you know?
no. Another thing that's good to know is having like a deterrent. If you're like holding an umbrella or if you have pepper spray on you, you have to have a license in order to have pepper spray. But that's another good thing to know. is just to have any kind of, I don't think keys would qualify, honestly, because you have to be very close range.
Yeah.
But anything where you can swing, like your handbags are so heavy. You can.
It sucks that you need a license for that. I know in Massachusetts, I think like California, you can do it, but you know, pepper spray.
Rhode
only goes so
Island, you
far.
need a license, I think.
Yeah.
Because I did cross to Massachusetts to get myself one once.
Tragic.
It's sad that it comes to that's what makes me feel more comfortable. And it's something that a lot of girls, some girls carry more things than I do.
Yeah.
Just a little pepper spray.
I don't have anything.
I think I got my pepper spray at an AutoZone, truth be told. I literally walked into an AutoZone and it's all of these old men, and I just walked up to the cashier. I was like, "Can I have the pepper spray, please? Do you know where the pepper spray is?" Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
But if you have all these items along with like you're just using your body to defend yourself, they don't want anything to do with that. It's not going to take them long to be like, I don't have time for this. So yeah, they don't want anyone that's going to like
cause a scene, even if you just yell.
Yeah, that's enough too. Most of the time, I'm not gonna say all the time, but that's usually enough for them to be like, okay.
But like, there's just some things that are easy to remember. I know my mom taught me to like punch to the nose so it breaks. Well, that was what my mom taught me.
So it breaks.
Yeah, and then they can't breathe. But there's like other things, like if someone's coming towards you, you should like push their first two fingers back, because it hurts. Like, try it on yourself. I'm not gonna do it to you. That hurts if someone just.
Yeah, but this brings us into our how to protect yourself.
Oh, right.
So number 1, look them in the face. If you feel like you're being followed, look them in the face and try to make conversation. Like, wonderful weather we're having. Did the Sox win last night? So you can remember their face.
Just anything where it's a back and forth, because I feel like the more you talk to someone, the more you remember their face. Yeah. Obviously, it's hard because everyone has face masks now, but even getting like a good look at how tall they are or like what their eyes look like, that's something good. So not only will you be able to recognize them later, but maybe they'll just back off because they know what you're doing.
Yeah. Number 2, if someone is coming towards you, like they tell you when strangers come about, stranger danger, stop, yell. That's a no-brainer.
Stop, stay back. Those are common terms.
Cause a scene, yeah.
Yeah, just cause a scene. Or if you do have pepper spray, yell, "I have pepper spray," and show it to them so that they know. That's a good trick.
Tell them the armpit thing.
Oh, right. So, you don't always have to out-strengthen them. So, a lot of the times, it's hard to fight somebody when you're unaware of what's going on. A good way to get yourself out of this situation is to just outsmart them. And so pinching them under the armpit or even inside the elbow, that is where the skin is so sensitive. You could try pinching yourself. It hurts. Like pinching, like now. You want me to pinch you?
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it hurts.
Actually, the self-defense class, they tried this and like she ripped out nerves.
Yes, they said crazy. That somebody ripped someone's nerves out in a self-defense class. If you're practicing, don't go that hard on your partner. Yeah. Because that's unnecessary.
And then there's the obvious number 5, to hit them in the groin. Usually if they're male, there's actually a thing where they compared going into labor and getting hit in the groin to being around the same pain level. I don't know how true that is, but
it's very painful.
Yeah.
So if you could just land a punch really quick, just so that you could get them off and kick them in the groin, that's all you really need. Yeah. To be able to run afterwards.
Yeah, and as you said before, bend the fingers back. That hurts, unless they're double jointed.
I don't know the statistics on how common that is, but I don't think it's that common to find someone double jointed here that it would hurt.
That's a real
or
psychopath.
Either way, that would probably be a distraction if they were double jointed. They're like, what are you trying to do? And then you just run.
Yeah. Always be aware of your surroundings. If you think somebody's being weird, go with your gut.
Right. Because just always be aware of your surroundings. If you see somebody that doesn't look friendly. Just be aware of that. You don't have to do anything until they start approaching you or they start initiating something.
Yeah.
In my head, it's always better to be safe than sorry. If someone was walking towards me on the sidewalk and I didn't like the look they were giving me, I'd probably cross the road. And maybe they were harmless and I just looked stupid for crossing the street, but at least I feel more safe.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's rather to feel like dumb afterwards if they really weren't anybody to be aware of than to end up in somebody's pickup truck you don't know now.
And actually, I do have an example of this. I was driving around Providence, because that's like the city I live near. I was going to work and I saw a man on top of a woman, and this was an old man, and I did not know how old the woman was, but the woman screamed. And so I rolled down my window and I started screaming like, hey, get off of her, hey. And the person, we're at a red light, the person next to me is like, what's your problem? Rolls down her window towards me. I'm like, that man just like got on top of that woman. So now we're both screaming at the man, and there's like a police officer nearby, checks out the scene. Apparently the man fell on her and couldn't get up, and she couldn't lift him up. And then we just had two people in cars screaming at him to get off of her.
That's embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, but at least I was aware that she was okay.
Yeah.
I did hold people back at the red light though.
Yeah. Oh, also going back to the car thing, if you're entering your car, well, if you're parked next to a big van and they happen to be parked next to you on your driver's side, try getting in from the passenger side, because you don't know who's in that van. It could be a coincidence that somebody's just chilling in the van.
Yeah.
But you never know. Actually, those vans mark people's cars as like 1B, 1G.
Oh, yeah.
As like one girl, one boy, or like 2G.
Or they'll even like put a tag on it sometimes. Just so like, you know, like, oh, this person lives alone or something like that.
But to wrap this all up, we're not saying to live in constant fear. Like,
you don't have to change your whole life just to live on. You can live comfortably. These are just like tips and like, these are just tips to make you feel safer and let you be aware that this is a reality that we have to live with.
Yeah, unfortunately. You know, a tip for predators, how about you just don't do it? You know, how about we just keep our hands to ourselves?
And in the end, it's never the victim's fault. It's always the predator's fault.
Yeah.
So predators, just stop, please.
Yeah, please. Also, it's not always physical, like assault. It could be catcalling, ayo ma, what you doing?
Oh, for sure.
Like, doing the most.
Just like talking to you for a really long time, making it difficult for you to
knowing
leave.
that you're uncomfortable. Yeah.
Can I say another example of me?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. One time I was at a Stop and Shop alone, and I was in the dog food section because I needed dog food for my dog. And on this particular day, I was wearing my Adidas joggers and a green tie-dye t-shirt because I was a senior in high school, and we had this tradition where like you have the same class color all 4 years, and then when you're a senior you get to tie-dye it. So no one in the school is allowed to wear tie-dye unless you're a senior. So that was my outfit, and I'm in Stop and Shop. And there's this like older man, I would say like mid-50s maybe, in one of those like shopping cart scooters, and he starts talking to me because he was looking for something. So like I engage, I'm like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. But then the conversation starts getting longer, and like I can't find a way out of it because I didn't want to be rude because he was being so nice to me. But then like people were coming in the aisles and like weren't saying or doing anything to help me. Like I shot eyes at somebody, like, please help me, I see you. But I don't think they got the signal. And he's telling me about his recent divorce and how pretty I am, asking me my age. He's like, oh, I bet your parents went to Woodstock, right? That's why you like tie-dye. I'm like, no, this is just like a seniors thing. And he's like, oh, so you're a senior, so how old are you? Where are you gonna go to college next year? I'm like, I don't know. Just asking me for so much information. I probably was there for an extra 15, 20 minutes. And the real like gag of it all is when I went home, I was very stressed about this. Like this whole thing made me really uncomfortable. I had similar situations to this, but this was the most uncomfortable I'd felt. And my mom was like, oh, well, all these clothes you've been wearing, like, the way you dress, like, you're kind of asking for it. I was like, Mom, look at me today. I'm literally wearing a t-shirt and joggers.
Yeah.
I'm not showing any skin, really.
Older generations tend to think like that, like, because when in their age, like, dressing like that meant, like, hooker or prostitute. But, like, no one deserves anything, no matter what they could be naked. They don't deserve that. So, yeah, that's...
Your clothes should not equal your consent.
Yeah.
My consent should equal my consent.
Yeah, I had literally my first day of working at a trampoline park. I was a junior, and I had a referee uniform on, and I was coming out of work, and these two guys stopped me, and they were like, "Where you work? Foot Locker?" Because we have the same uniform. And I was like, "No," and I'm really not trying to tell this man where I worked. I don't know why he was so persistent about it. And he was like, "I'm from Boston. I'm trying to get to know people." I was like, "I'm good." As soon as I mentioned that my dad was outside, that's when he left me alone. But yeah. Oh, also, speaking of workplace harassment. You know,
that's another place where you wouldn't expect it to happen, but it still happens.
Yeah, if your boss wants a tit for tat being sexual exchange, you don't need that. You don't need that. And unwanted
report
attention.
It.
Yeah.
Just report it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a good
talk, I think, that needed to be had.
I'd also like to add, start calling out your friends, because some of us do these, like, we don't understand that sometimes we don't realize it's weird, but there's actually, like, even like taking pictures of people without their knowledge, that's weird, and I never I do that, and I never, like, realized.
Or like, even if you get an unsolicited photograph from someone, you still should not be showing that to your friends. And you got to check your friends when they do that. Because that is just, yes, of course, at first it was not right, but two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So thank you so much. Sorry this was different than our normal episodes, but we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week when we do solve another crime.